Top 5. Oh, we're getting close to the spooky season, which means it's time to look at candy and our top 5 least favorite candies this week on the program. Matthew, let's start with you this week. And what do you have for your number 5 least favorite candy?
See, the phrase least favorite candy is problematic for me for a couple of ways because, one, I don't eat a lot of candy, and two, I'm pretty neutral on a lot of the candy that I have had. And I feel like when I started going and looking on the internet and people saying, hey, what's your least favorite candy? Reminding me of things, I was like, most of this it's character assassination. I'm sure they'll all be in our list tonight. But my number 5 was the first one that jumped out at me as, oh, God, yes, I remember that's terrible. And that is a box of Good and Plenty. And Good and Plenty is basically a little chunk of black licorice, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with black licorice, but it's flavored with something called star anise.
No, it's called star anise. It's star anise because it tastes like somebody's been eating ass.
That was the joke whenever we were kids, because my grandmother, she had the thing, and it's like, oh, look at that. It's a can of anus. And we would try and dare each other to eat it. But the thing that's really, really frustrating about it is, in addition to the black licorice flavor, which, I think it's like cilantro. Either you like it or you don't like it. But a Good and Plenty is encased in what I can only describe as a space-age shell made of some sort of polymer of molybdenum and, I don't know, antifreeze. It's like you have to crack through it, and it's a horrifying sensation. And of course, the shell tastes worse than the stuff inside. It pretty much tastes like you've bitten into a light bulb. And then your actual reward for chewing your way into a light bulb is black licorice, which that's just wrong. That's no man's idea of a candy. And while I'm not going to mock you, I'm not going to be mean to you if you love a Good and Plenty, I am going to say that you can have them all, because my number 5, Good and Plenty, is just plain gross on a number of levels.
Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 5?
My number 5 is my number 5 of least favorite candy, because it's a candy that I otherwise do actually like, and that's Starburst.
Mm-hmm.
I really like fruity, chewy candy. I like Starburst. I like Skittles. I love gummies. I'm well on the record on this show as really liking gummies.
Yeah.
But as I have continued to grow older and wiser, I have reached a critical mass of dental work where to put a Starburst in my mouth is me having to ask, is chewing on this on this like small rectangular prism worth like $300 of them like fitting my crown back in? Because it's literally happened. I pulled the crown while chewing on Starburst. So now I'm like, well, it's scientifically fascinating because humans have obviously not a hugely powerful bite, or compared to a lot of other animals, but our bite power is pretty good, and the muscles that open our jaws are pretty strong as well. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad that I learned how to leverage that against my dental work, because it's like you chew into the Starburst and it like seals, right? It like just makes a complete hermetic like seal around everything that it needs to, and then when you open it, it just like yanks it out. So fewer Starbursts for me. I don't know of a way that I could have them that would be palatable, except like maybe like eating them like an old timey like British Royal, just like with my front teeth, like like. But that doesn't seem all that pleasant either. So that's my number 5 is Starburst.
All right, very cool.
Starburst is actually my number 4.
Oh, okay.
But a very specific thing about Starburst. The core Starbursts, as we know them in North America, specifically in Kansas, in the year 2020, come in basically four flavors. There's your cherry, there's your strawberry, there's your orange, and then there is the underside of a 1965 Volkswagen Beetle, which they claim is lemon, but in fact tastes like rust. So my number 4 is actually just the lemon Starburst. And here's the worst part about it. I don't know if you guys do this as you go through your day. I remember there was a thing that I read once about OCD, and OCD people, you count things throughout your day and you have to do it. I'm not necessarily compelled to count things, but like when I go through my Starburst, my brain is like, okay, that's 5 reds and 3 oranges. For some reason, categorically, statistically, there are more lemon Starburst than any other flavor in the little 2-piece Starburst packs that we used to get when I worked in the hospital.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's like you get a cherry and a lemon, you get an orange and a lemon, you get a strawberry and a lemon, you get a lemon and a lemon. You never get 2 cherry. You never get 2 orange. But the lemons are just everywhere. And as someone who, appreciates a nice lemon sorbet to clear the palate, there is nothing lemon about the taffy monstrosity that is a lemon Starburst. I don't know what it is. It's acidic and gross. And it reminds me of licking a 9-volt battery when I was a kid. And yes, I lick 9-volt batteries, Stephen. Make fun of me if you need to.
Well, I was just curious how you knew how the underside of a Volkswagen tastes like. So, I mean, I'd make more fun of you for that than licking a battery. But now that you add the battery to the list, I'm just going to say things that I can make fun of Matthew. Number 5, licking batteries. Number 4.
There is not that much to do in rural Kansas.
That's true.
You have to know this.
Licking
my first car
battery
was a Volkswagen, see, and in order to get the car, I had to go and buy it. I gave the guy $75, and he's like, well, we got to change the engine. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll give you back $25 if you help me change the engine. I'm like, sure. What do I got to do? He's like, lift the car off the engine. And I'm like, wait. And he's like, no, I understand. It sounds crazy, but lifting the car off the engine is easier than lifting the engine out of the car. So I lift the car off the engine. We put the new engine under, we put the car under it. That is a point where, you're holding up a car with your bare hands. Sometimes you're just like, I'm going to lick this car. No, that didn't really happen. Well, everything but the licking the car did happen. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So, yeah.
All right. My number 5 is, probably controversial today because it's pretty much banned everywhere. But as a young, hip kid of the 70s, you'd walk down the street and everybody was smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes over there, smoking cigarettes over there. You go home, mom, dad, smoking cigarettes everywhere, cigarettes at the restaurant, cigarettes in the movie theater. So it makes sense that if you want to indoctrinate a young child into the fascinating world of cigarettes, then you should make cigarettes in candy form. Problem is, candy cigarettes are basically chalk painted with a red tip. And they're not like peppermint flavored or spearmint flavored or even wintergreen flavored. They're just these chalky sticks of sugar ? And as a kid, I remember buying a box of these thinking, oh, these are kind of cool. And then putting one in my mouth and going, oh, it tastes just like a real cigarette taste, like crap. I never want to smoke in my life. And so my number 5, least favorite candy cigarettes.
Yeah, you have to be over about 45 to even remember that those existed.
Rodrigo, do you remember candy cigarettes?
I do, but you got to remember that I grew up in Mexico. So
right, that doesn't count.
Things that are phased out in the U.S. are sometimes, I think, literally just pushed towards Mexico.
There's probably a store that's still exclusive candy cigarette outlet.
Yeah,
I just have this theory that in Mexico, a candy cigarette is literally just a chocolate-covered Marlboro. It's like
it's chocolate's cheaper in Mexico. It's just easier to make them that way.
Yeah.
All right, Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 4?
My number 4 is actually kind of a broad category rather than a specific candy, and that's because this got like really fashionable for a while to do this, and that's most things with sea salt.
Mm.
And look, some like candy that is sweet and savory is okay. I've come around to it. When I was a kid, I really didn't like it. Um, but I find that the relatively recent trend of putting sea salt on things is like, oh yeah, this is like a chocolate truffle with sea salt, and it has like salt crystals like visibly on it.
Mm.
And I'm like, sir, this is a pretzel.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like, yeah, you take a bite of it and it's like it burns. It's a bunch of salt in like a crystalline form, like right in your palate. And it's like, I don't know, I just find it very like not pleasant. I'm like, and it's like if you ended up getting something with sea salt on it, then it's like, well, can I pick it off? And it's like, I feel like I half the price that I paid was the sea salt.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I have to eat it. Now, this is only a problem really with like kind of fancier candy. But I live in a nice metropolis. Every once in a while, you can like take a little money and go down to the market and get some fancy candy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Would you like some sea salt on it?" And I'm like, "No, get away from me."
You have to pay extra for no sea salt.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. My number 4, probably somewhere else on somebody's list. It's generally considered a hated candy. It is the candy corn. Now listen, I don't mind the sugar and the corn syrup and the honey and the vanilla. I think that is really not so bad. The things that I don't like about the candy corn are the fondant or the marshmallow cream, depending on what they're doing, the gelatin, and the shellac that they put on there, the confectioner's glaze. All of those combine to really take the edge of Sugar Rush off the sugar, corn syrup, and honey. And so I don't really care for them. The other day, my wife had brought home a fall harvest popcorn mix. And I was like, oh, what's in this? And I picked it up, and sure enough, there's some caramel corn and some chocolate and some pretzels and then lots of candy corn. And I'm like, oh, and I just set that back down because there's no way that I'm going to eat anything with candy corn.
Was it all mixed together?
Yeah, all mixed together.
Oh.
I did try some of the popcorn and chocolate and pretzel, and it was fine. But a chunk of candy corn, no thank you. No thank you, sir. We are going through our top 5 least favorite candies this week. And Matthew, what do you have for your number 3?
My number 3, I was stunned, absolutely stunned, when I looked up my number 3 and discovered that it was discontinued, not as I thought in 1979 or 1984 or at any point when the children who grew up with you and I, Stephen, became adults and could make official decisions about things that had to die. It was phased out in the year 2024, last year. 65 years of the horror of fruit stripe gum. So,
man, fruit stripe is great.
Fruit stripe is great
that you like something first 2 chews. Yeah.
If you want to be overwhelmed by the sweetness equivalent of like an entire bottle of orange juice for 2 bites, and then have a mouthful of like spackle for the rest of the afternoon. And the worst part is you can spit out a fruit stripe and your mouth is still going to be coated with, it may be beach gum, or I don't know. It was just, but here's the thing. When we were kids, it was in the comic books. That's why I actually had it.
Oh,
also,
the advertisements, like, not the actual gum.
No, you could get gum in a comic book. No, the actual advertisements, yes, were in the thing. And fruit stripe was weirdly a little cheaper when you'd go to the store and you get like a pack, and it was like 35 cents for a Wrigley's and 30 cents for a fruit stripe. So you'd get the fruit stripe not realizing you were going to get ripped off. And much like the complaints that I have with the Starburst, you had your orange, which tasted kind of like sugar, and then you had your cherry, which tasted kind of like sugar, and then you had your lime, which tasted pretty much like sugar, Then you had your lemon, which tasted like the endless death throes of every person you've ever loved. It's just, ugh. I will say this though, it was clever that the wrappers were tattoos. Do you remember this? The wrappers had like the little
the little zebra guy.
and I'm like, yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it at the time. It's not worth it now. And honestly, I cannot believe that they existed until 2024, because when I say fruit stripe gum, I'm thinking about things that just as of 1985 just no longer existed, like the Peach Hostess fruit pies, or you would go and you'd be like, oh, do you guys remember when you could get the Chico sticks, or do you remember the career of David Hasselhoff? All of the things that just stopped dead in 1985 should have included fruit stripe, because fruit stripe is the devil.
Man, I'm going to shock you again, Matthew. I'm going to shock you again. Chico sticks are still available today.
I mean, in the broadest sense,
nope.
Anybody.
The big giant ones, and you can even get them in little bite-size versions.
I mean, there are trees everywhere. I can walk out the door and just pull a limb off of an ash tree and chew on it and have that same effect.
For some reason, I thought that fruit stripe gum had gone off the market like in early 2000, like early, maybe even up to 2019 or something like that. And then because of quote unquote demand by, young Gen Alphas wanting to experience the same thing that their parents or grandparents went through, that the company had brought it back, but they're just like, nah, people just don't chew gum anymore. So we're getting rid of all of it.
Sure.
How old are Gen Alphas? Are these people born in like 2000 or?
Gen Alpha hasn't entered the workforce yet.
Right.
So the Gen Alphas are going to be
anyone like 17 and basically 16 and
older. Like our kids. Would my kid be a Gen Alpha?
No.
They're 21.
No. Not at 20.
No, she'd actually count as
Gen
Z.
Yeah, Gen Alpha is born between 2010 and 2025.
So both of your kids would be Gen Alpha?
No. My youngest son is a Gen Alpha. My oldest son is not. No, in fact, I don't think neither one of my kids would be Gen Alphas, because
how the hell old are your children?
No. Your kids are Gen Alphas. Like your kids, my nephews, they're Gen Alphas.
No, one of them was born in 20 years ago. So, yeah.
2005?
Yeah.
2006?
2004. And then
2004 is when my kid was born.
Yeah. 2004, around there. Yeah.
Well,
and then I'm not going to dox my kids on the show, ding dong. And the other one is just entering high school. So.
Oh, so they're 11. Got it. I get it.
All right. So who's number 3? Oh, so that was Matthew's fruit stripe gum.
That was my number 3.
Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 3? Speaking of ding dongs, you can still buy those as well. They're not technically candy.
They're much smaller now, and they're covered in like a waxy substance. It's not good.
I wouldn't know. Go ahead, Rodrigo. What do you have for your number 3?
My number 3 is Jawbreakers, and Jawbreaker, because Jawbreakers I think are like a brand name, but that sort of candy where the appeal is that there's maybe like different layers of candy, all of which are just diamond hard, right? I just don't have the discipline for it. I want to bite it at some point, and that never turns out well. I also hate having a piece of candy in my mouth for that long. Not only do I get progressively more tempted to just try to crunch it in my molars, but also I just get tired of it. I don't know where to put it in my mouth. Like it's like over by a cheek or by another cheek. Like I don't have any room for this. Okay, I don't want to. I should be paid for storage of a Jawbreaker. So, it's not a good eating experience for me. I don't like Jawbreakers. That's my number 3.
All right. So I like a good Star Mint, a good peppermint Star Mint, providing that it is a hard Star Mint, solid all the way through. I don't know. It used to be you could go to Sonic and you would get your hamburger with onions, or you get a corn dog or something, and you'd always get a mint that you could have afterwards because your breath would stink from Sonic. It would just be like the worst breath ever. Or you go to a restaurant, and at the counter they have a little Star Mint for you to take, and most of the time they are the hard Star Mint variety. But for some reason, I don't know when, it's been definitely in the last 15, 20 years, Sonic went to these soft, chalky Star Mints, and they are the worst. Like, if Sonic ever enters the house, I look at the bag and I'm like, oh, these are the soft Star Mints. I will pass. And you just see this visible look of disgust on my face. And everyone's like, oh, I think these are fine. I'm like, no, they were like, they're a few steps up above the candy cigarettes as far as my dislike, mainly because they're hidden in plain sight. You can't easily tell a hard Star Mint from the soft, chalky Star Mint. And that's why Star Mints are my number 3.
Steven's visible look of disgust as he shovels all his chili cheese pops into his mouth.
All in my mouth. One bite. All right. We are now quickly moving up the charts. We are at our number 2s. Matthew, what do you have for your number 2 least favorite candy?
Moving up the charts, a long distance dedication. Here's the thing. I think this is indicative of my relationship with candy as a whole. Despite the fact that I am a relatively fat man, probably one of the fatter people that you know, I am not like a sit and eat a whole bunch of candy guy. Now, Little Debbie Cosmic Brownies, maybe that's a different thing. That's not a candy. That's over there. But I do have a particular love-hate relationship with the chocolate bars of the universe. And while none of them are specifically bad, there is one that I cannot countenance. And ironically, if you ask me my top 5 favorite candies, it's probably on the list. My number 2 least favorite candy is a Snickers, but only
a Snickers butt, gross.
Size. Shut up. A Snickers, but only the bite-sized Snickers.
Oh, yeah.
So Snickers bar, when I was a kid, Snickers bars were bigger. So,
right.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, because now it comes in a variety of different sizes, right? So if you're lucky, you can get the single big bar. Nowadays, though, if you go and grab the single big bar, it's actually 2 medium-sized bars inside the wrapper. Then you have then you have the ones that are like a third of a Snickers bars, which I would say are the mini Snickers.
So those are like the fun size. Snickers.
Yeah, then you have these little tiny square ones that they started releasing. And those are the quote unquote ones, fun size, right?
Yeah, like the Halloween candy, like giveaway ones.
The fun size Snickers are the ones that are still oblong. They are still longer than they are wide. The perfectly square ones are bite-sized Snickers, and they are the ones that I hate. They're the devil, because the innards of a Snickers has like a lot of things going on. You got your nougat, you got your caramel, you got your peanuts, you got your chocolate, right? And aside from the horrible, horrible thing that is nougat deficiency syndrome, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It makes your elbows grow really, really big and kind of poke out and turn green. There is a problem with a mini, tiny, fun size mini Snickers, not the fun size 3-inch version, but the tiny square ones. They don't have peanuts. They have peanut shards, and the balance is off, because in that little square, they have the same thickness of nougat to caramel to chocolate to peanut. So the peanut ratio is off. There's too much nougat. There's not enough caramel. And you get in just enough to where the bitterness of the industrial chocolate that seems to be wrapped around these tiny Snickers really comes at you. So like, I will eat a full-size Snickers bar all day long. I'll eat a giant-size Snickers. It's like the 2 that you were talking about. But at one point, honestly, a few years ago for Christmas, the family got me a 1-pound Snickers bar. That's literally the size of my foot, and I have a size 14 foot. And you would literally have to just hack slices off of it. That was the best. That was a year that I gained 25 pounds in between December and March, but it was a good gift. I can't ask for it again. But also, just for some reason, the bite-sized Snickers are all wrong. Weirdly, bite-sized Three Musketeers are actually improved by the experience of being tiny and small. Because a lot of people complain, oh, too much nougat in the Three Musketeers, which is stupid. A Three Musketeers is all nougat. That's like saying there's too much asparagus in my asparagus. But the little tiny, the bite-sized Snickers, they're just wrong. They're bad. They're off. They're like what Satan would do to trick you. Like, okay, let's say
if Satan really wanted to trick you, he would say, here's a jumbo-sized Snickers bar, Matthew, and you'd reach out and you'd grab it, and you'd go to your car and you'd open it up, and then falling out of it would be all of the little bite-sized Snickers bars, like 16 of them in a row, and you're like, monkey paw, curse you, the devil.
I think that it's interesting that two upper middle class white guys from Kansas find that as the worst thing the devil could do.
Oh no, I'm just saying that if we're talking specifically, fooling you with candy bars,
the candy devil, right?
Yeah, candy devil. He's one of the lesser ones. You got Beelzebub, you got Lucifer, and then you've got Snickers bite-sized demon.
The Snickers bite-sized demon. I think his name is it needs to have nougat. It's
probably
or something.
Ted Nugent. Yeah, that would be his name.
Ted Nugent. Oh, that's good.
Ted Nugent.
That's his name. Yeah. He's a subsidiary of the Pennsylvania Chocolate Devil.
Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 2 least favorite candy?
My number 2 is, I think, kind of spiritually related to your mint issue, Stephen. My number 2 is spiced gumdrops.
Oh, yeah.
And the main reason why I don't like them is because I'm like, oh, gumdrops. And I put one in my mouth and it tastes weird, right? It's like, I think like a cinnamony type flavor, or like just like a weird, I don't know, nutmeg. I have no idea what exactly is in them.
My brain wants to say coriander, but I think that's wrong.
Well, it actually probably, some of them probably also have anise.
Sassafras and clove or something.
Yeah. It's like, they're like specifically flavors that I feel don't go well with a bunch of sugar. And I, as an adult, I don't buy them much, and I think people in my generation also don't like them much. I see them every once in a while in the store, but when I feel like as a kid growing up, it was like an absolute pitfall. Like if there was like a gathering or something, and there were like little things to eat, and there were like gumdrops or something, like these are like things that like my grandma, I think, was into. There was just like a good chance that it was going to be a spice drop, and of course, with grown-ups all around, I couldn't like pick one up and like touch it to my tongue to see what kind it was first.
Oh, right.
Or anything like that. It's like if you grab it, you're eating it. So it's like, okay, let me eat this. I was like, oh, thank God, it's just like a regular gumdrop. But sometimes it would be a spice gumdrop, and I'd be like, gross, but I would still eat it because it's sugar, and I've always been hopefully addicted. So
yeah, I think it's that. I think that is the same thing as the Ted Nugent. Because you've got this what you would have like seraphim, so this would be sacrilegious gumdrops. That would be the devil for this one. You're right. It's because you see the gumdrop and you're thinking, cherry or orange or some kind of a citrusy taste, and then you pop it in your mouth and it's burning. Or the ones that I don't like, you pop it into your mouth and it's like, ooh, mint flavored gumdrops, gross.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Yeah, my number 2, however, is something that I could never wrap my head around. Yet both of my boys they really like them. But I can never get it around my head why people like wax lips or wax bottles. It's literally chewing wax
in your mouth rather than around your head. But.
No, it's I can't wrap it around anything because I don't want them near me. But my kids are just like, oh, we want the wax bottles, and they bite it open. There's like this one little drop of sugar water in there, and then they're just chewing on this wax, and it's just like, ooh, it tastes weird. It's weird in my mouth, and it's wax, and I'm not gonna. It's just, it's just the weirdest thing in the world, as far as texture flavor goes. And I just don't get why people, or kids especially, I don't know of any adults that are big Wax Lips or Wax Bottles fans. If you are, please let me know. That's why we have a Discord that you can join for free. So many awesome people over there in the Major Spoilers Discord, including the top 5. But yes, if you like a wax lip or a wax bottle, please tell me why. But it's just something I cannot. It's just weird.
Actually, okay. Can you explain to me how you're supposed to eat those? Are you just supposed to eat the wax?
Yes.
You chew a chunk off of it, and then you like suck out the life-giving sucrose, right? But then the wax like maintains sort of a delicate, sort of just a flavor palette of that leftover sugar water. So I get it. I mean,
you chew on the wax and you swallow it.
Look, I've done that. We do that with Baby Bell cheeses. You chew on the wax, you swallow.
No, you're supposed to take the wax off.
When we were kids, they used to have the Coke
no. It's part of the ecosystem. He chews the thing, and then
you wonder why you have digestive issues.
A complete Baby Bell comes out the other side, and then a different animal eats that, and that's how they get pollinated.
Exactly. And then eventually it's a civet, and then it becomes coffee. But
that's where they get anise from.
The thing that, like, they were Coke bottles when I was a kid, and they had
they still are
cola flavor.
Yeah.
So you gnaw them open, right? But it gives you something to chew on, kind of like gum, or like, you know how the every time you see somebody, it's like an Andy Griffith Show episode, and there's some guy and he's sitting there chewing on a piece of grass, walking down the road.
Sure.
And he's doing his thing. He's like just kind of chewing on it. And you're like, hi, my name's Goober, and this here's my cousin. It's sort of that Midwestern, Southwestern kind of Alabama, really just sort of anywhere that there are very few people and lots of frogs kind of experience where you're you're just chewing on something to chew.
At a couple times in my life as a kid, I was given like a wax bottle so I was like, okay, so I just like kind of like clawed it open and like sipped like the tiny amount of liquid that I had inside. I was like, okay, was that it? So I guess I should have been chewing on it.
You should have kept chewing on the bottle.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, good to know. It should be
noted that, in Steven's experience, when they throw you a bottle, it's usually a broken glass bottle, and you have to fight with your cousin for the last piece of chicken or something.
Yeah, that's how that works. So that is my number 2. And the last time we have to ever have Matthew on the show. All right, we are into our number 1's least favorite food. Matthew, sorry, not food, candy. Although some people consider candy food. But Matthew, what is your least favorite candy food?
Candy is not food.
It can be if you do it right. So. They have candy. They have gummy pizzas.
I am that guy. I will sit down with whatever bag of candy there is, as long as it's chewable, and I will eat the whole thing. It is not something I'm proud of. It is not something my nutritionist advises. Now that I'm old, I also have a nutritionist, and they're like, "Don't do that anymore."
And you're like, "You can't tell me what to do. Like, you cannot follow me around 24/7. If I want to eat this big bag of peach rings, I'll do it."
I'm like, listen, I'm getting $20 per gobstopper from Wonka to just put them in my mouth for storage. So it's a gig economy, lady.
That's true. That's true.
All right, Matthew, what do you got for your number 1 least favorite candy?
My number 1 was almost until literally the end of the process was almost the Red Bean Kit Kat.
Oh, yeah.
Which was something that my lady friend introduced me to in college. But I started thinking about the Red Bean Kit Kat, and I remember the aftertaste and being kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily like it, but also, I'm not necessarily from the culture where that's the thing. Red bean is very popular in Japan and in the Pacific Rim, so I didn't want to necessarily be like culturally insensitive. And then I also remembered the most disgusting candy in the world. It pretends to be like a raisinette. It has this delicious, soft candy outer shell. It's like, ooh, chocolate. I do love chocolate, right? And you get through that chocolate, you either bite through or you like the chocolate melts away. And you're left with malted milk. And let me explain to you what malted milk balls of a Whopper taste like. So when milk goes sour, it gets that kind of high, horrifying, back of your throat, rotting animal smell, but it also has a chunky texture. And then imagine that it's really hard, like you're trying to chew your way through a tree or like the rind of an avocado or something. It's just then once you've done that, there's a crunch aspect to it, like you've just bitten into the bone of a small animal that you did not know was in your sandwich. And it's horrifying on all levels. Flavor wise, it's disgusting to me. Texture wise, it has that soft, silky outer, and then goopy, and then crunchy, and it's bad. It's like I feel like I'm inside of a gelatinous cube, and something is in my mouth, and as it dissolves, it gets more and more disgusting. And the worst part of it is it's called a whopper. A whopper. Not only is that a word for a lie, which is what it is, because they say, "Oh, here's some candy," and I'm like, "Oh no, it's a lie." Whopper sounds like the noise that I make when I try to eat one, because I'm like, "Excuse me, I gotta go." Whopper. It's just, ah. And God love you. If you love a Whopper, eat them all and keep them the F bomb away from me. But I just, cannot stand. My wife loves a Whopper. And I mean, honestly, there are times when a Whopper could have ended my marriage. That's what I'm telling you. That's how bad they are.
All right. Rodrigo, what do you have for your number one?
My number one is at number one, and not because it elicits that sort of response as malted milk balls do for Matthew, but really because it's like there are very few candies where I like basically just one candy, just this candy, where I would put it in my mouth and it's sweet or whatever, and I'll chew it, and then afterwards I'm like, well, that's a lot of work for not a lot of reward. Like there's like almost no candy where I'm like, I'm I'm angry about the calories I burnt eating this because it like wasn't anything, and that's Tootsie Rolls. I know that Tootsie Rolls are or like were really popular. I don't know how well they're doing nowadays. There's like some charity stuff based around Tootsie Rolls, and it's like, okay, well, here you go, here's the dollar. It's like, okay, here's a bunch of Tootsie Rolls. No, thank you. Um, don't do that to me. I as a kid, I hated Tootsie Pops because I liked the candy outer shell, but then when I got to the Tootsie Roll center, I was like, well, this is a downgrade, right? And as I've said before, I'm not a very disciplined candy eater. So as soon as I detected a structural weakness in a Tootsie Pop, I was crunching on that thing and trying to like break it apart with my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So often the Tootsie Roll Center would get mixed in with everything else, and it was fine. It's not like that's the thing about Tootsie Roll. That's why it's my number one least favorite candy. It's like fine, but it's like chewy and difficult to eat and like not that pleasant. It's just like it just like creates a negative eating experience that's like it like turns candy into something unremarkable, which seems like a sin. But anyway, that's my take on Tootsie Rolls.
All right, very
My
good.
number one.
My number one, we've made jokes about it this entire episode. Anything that is black licorice related, go away. Like my dad, I don't know why. He's the only one in the family that loves anything black licorice. Like, give him those fancy black licorices, Rodrigo, with the salt sprinkled on it. He loves it.
Sure.
Easter time. Oh, gross. I got a black jelly bean. Oh, let me have it. I'll eat that black jelly bean. Gross. He's the only one in our family that loves the black licorice. And I think it's because he knows that we'll give him all of our black licorice. So maybe he's just saying that so he gets extra candy or something. But man, black licorice just tastes terrible. And I can't stand it. And that's why it's my number one least favorite candy. Also because it's got anus in it. So there you go. Listeners, What are your least favorite candies? As I mentioned a moment ago, head over to the Major Spoilers Discord server. You can find a link to it in the show notes, completely free to join. Jump down into the Top 5 channel and share your top 5 least favorite candies. Why? Because everybody loves a list.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.